Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. General Hospital spoilers. Jason reunites Charlotte and Lulu Valentin pays steep price. General Hospital, GH, spoilers reveal that Jack Brennan, Charles Mazur, has been playing dumb about Valentin Cassadine's, James Patrick Stewart, whereabouts, but Anna Devane, Finola Hughes, thinks he knows more than he's letting on. Jason Morgan, Steve Burton, also suspects Brennan is holding back, but he's promised Anna that he'll help her find Valentin regardless. Of course, Brennan warned Jason not to go down this road and made a prediction that it wouldn't end well for Anna. What does that mean exactly? Does Brennan believe Valentin will end up deceased and that Anna will ultimately blame herself for that? It's certainly possible that the WSB could decide to wipe Valentin off the map rather than letting him get thrown in prison. The WSB wants to put the whole Pikeman debacle behind them, so eliminating Valentin could be an option if his location becomes known. In other words, Jason may find Valentin and reunite Charlotte Cassadine, Scarlett Fernandez, with Lulu Spencer, Alexa Havens. But Valentin could pay a steep price. Valentin could suffer a grim fate if all this goes south. Even if Valentin ends up incarcerated instead, that's still far worse than relaxing on an island somewhere with his daughter. Valentin's life will inevitably change one way or another, and it seems Jason could be a big reason why. Jason is someone who keeps his promises, so he may track Valentin down for Anna and set some tough consequences in motion. Since Anna asked Jason to help her carry out this mission, she may hold herself responsible if things end in disastrous news. No matter how this GH storyline plays out, Charlotte will face some major life adjustments of her own. Charlotte will have to say goodbye to her papa, maybe even permanently, depending on what Valentin's outcome looks like. On the bright side, Charlotte's reunion with Lulu could soften the blow once she's back in Port Charles. Some emotional mother-daughter moments should be brewing, so stick with us for updates on what's ahead for Lulu and Charlotte. General Hospital spoilers say Lulu's coma awakening is about to take center stage, so let's hope GH can get Charlotte back on screen sooner rather than later. In the bustling corridors of General Hospital, tensions were high as a long-anticipated moment drew closer. Jason Morgan, with his steely gaze and relentless dedication, had taken on a mission that could change the lives of those involved forever. This time, it wasn't about settling scores or facing off against another enemy. It was about reuniting a mother and daughter who had been separated far too long. He knew he had to tread carefully, for Valentin Cassadine's hold over Charlotte was fierce and unyielding. But Jason, as always, was undeterred, willing to do whatever it took to make this reunion happen. It all started when Lulu Spencer's medical team received promising news. Lulu was finally coming out of her long coma. The news swept through Port Charles like wildfire, igniting hope among friends and family. But for Lulu's daughter, Charlotte Cassadine, life had become a confusing blend of loyalties and unresolved feelings. She adored her father, Valentin, but she also missed her mother deeply. Though she hadn't seen Lulu in what felt like ages, the connection she held in her heart was undeniable, and a part of her longed to be with her mother once again. For Valentin, this was a nightmare. He had controlled the narrative in Charlotte's life for years, ensuring she saw him as her only true parent. But now, with Lulu awakening, he knew the time had come for him to face the consequences of his past actions. Valentin wasn't blind to the fact that he had been selfish, holding on to Charlotte despite knowing Lulu would want her back. He feared losing his daughter, and perhaps worse, he feared facing his own guilt. Yet he knew that with Jason involved, he would have to confront his fears sooner than he was ready. As Jason started digging, he found himself caught up in the delicate web of emotions surrounding Charlotte's loyalties. Knowing how much Charlotte adored her father, he realized that if the reunion were to happen peacefully, it couldn't be forced or manipulated. He had to find a way to let Charlotte see her mother without turning her against Valentin entirely. It was a balancing act, and one that would take all of Jason's tactical finesse. He arranged a quiet meeting with Charlotte, carefully avoiding Valentin's watchful eye. In a cozy corner of Kelly's diner, Jason gently spoke to the young girl, assuring her that seeing her mother didn't mean betraying her father. "Your mom has missed you, Charlotte. She's been fighting to come back to you," he told her, his voice warm and steady. He watched as Charlotte's eyes sparkled with hope, even as she tried to mask her emotions. "Your dad will always be a part of your life," he assured her. "This is just about giving you and your mom a chance to see each other again." Charlotte's eyes, a perfect blend of her parents', welled up with tears as she nodded. The thought of seeing Lulu both excited and terrified her. Though she didn't voice it, she feared that her mother might resent her for the years she'd spent solely with her father. But Jason's calm presence reassured her. She trusted him, and that was all she needed to move forward with courage. Meanwhile, Valentin was feeling the pressure from all sides. Laura Collins, Lulu's mother and Charlotte's grandmother, was relentless in her demands for access to Charlotte, pressing Valentin to let his daughter see her mother. Valentin tried every argument he could muster, but Laura was resolute. "Valentin," she said, her voice a mixture of compassion and firmness, "Lulu is her mother. You can't keep her from Charlotte. This is about more than you now." Realizing he was backed into a corner, Valentin reluctantly conceded. But deep down, he knew the price he would pay for this reunion was more than simply letting Charlotte go. It was facing the reality that he might lose her forever. He had spent years trying to be the father she deserved, but that came with decisions he could no longer take back. And now he would have to watch as Jason, his old adversary, facilitated a moment he wasn't ready to face. The reunion was planned for a private space in the hospital, away from the prying eyes and whispered judgments of Port Charles. As Charlotte walked in, she looked up to see Lulu, who was sitting in her hospital bed, her face a portrait of anticipation and love. Lulu's heart raced, her hands trembling as she took in the sight of her little girl, who had grown so much since they had last been together. "Mom?" Charlotte's voice was barely above a whisper, as if speaking louder would make the fragile moment disappear. Lulu's eyes filled with tears, her voice choked with emotion. "Charlotte, sweetheart, I've missed you so much." Her arms opened, and without hesitation, Charlotte ran to her, wrapping her arms tightly around her mother. In that embrace, the years of separation faded away, replaced by an overwhelming sense of love and belonging. Both mother and daughter clung to each other, a bond that had remained unbroken despite time and distance. Jason watched from a distance, a rare smile playing on his lips. He knew how much this moment meant, not just to Lulu and Charlotte, but to the entire Spencer family. He also knew that, in some small way, he had helped make it possible. As he turned to leave, satisfied that his job was done, he spotted Valentin standing nearby, hidden from view but visibly affected by the scene before him. Valentin's face was a mix of anguish and acceptance. For all his faults, he loved Charlotte deeply, and he knew that keeping her from her mother wasn't right. Watching them together, he realized that his love would have to evolve, allowing her the space to forge a relationship with Lulu. And though it tore at him, he understood that this was a price he would have to pay for the life he had chosen. After a moment, Valentin walked up to Jason. They exchanged a silent nod, an unspoken acknowledgement of each other's role in Charlotte's life. Though they were far from friends, there was a mutual respect between them in that moment, an understanding that transcended their past conflicts. Valentin extended his hand, and after a brief hesitation, Jason shook it. "I appreciate what you've done for her," Valentin said quietly. "Even if it means I lose part of her." Jason, ever the man of few words, simply nodded. "Charlotte deserves this. So does Lulu. You'll always be a part of her life, Valentin. Don't let fear take that away." As Jason left, Valentin turned back to where Charlotte and Lulu were sitting together, their laughter filling the room. A bittersweet smile crossed his face, knowing that this was both the beginning of a new chapter and the end of an era for him. The path forward wouldn't be easy, but for Charlotte's sake, he was willing to pay whatever price was necessary. For Jason, this was a rare win in a life filled with constant battles. As he walked away from the hospital, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. He had brought a family back together, even if it meant stepping into the shadows once more. Because for Jason, some things were worth the sacrifice.